Coming up on Mountain News this morning, a Leslie County community comes together to help a family in need. And volunteers around the mountains gathered together to learn life-saving skills. Plus, we have more on a fiery plane crash in Russia that killed more than 40 people.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning. It is 4:59 on Monday, May the 6th. I'm Will Punkett. Thank you for tuning into Mountain News this morning. Well, last night when I got back into town, I went straight to my bedroom and opened up the windows. It was a great night to sleep. And Brandon, we should see some warmer temperatures right this week, but what should people expect on their Monday specifically?
Yeah, it's going to be kind of a mess this morning as you're heading out the door. Lots of dense fog, and we're going to continue to see that dense fog advisory for most of the region until 10 o'clock. Let's take a look at that graphic, and you can see from basically I-64 down into southern Kentucky all the way to the Virginia border there, seeing some of that dense fog. So be aware of that. Visibility is awful this morning. A lot of spots there close to zero, so just kind of keep that in mind as you're traveling. Some 40s and 50s across the area, so much cooler than it has been in the early morning hours. So between a normal day and a little extra on that coffee meter, just because it's Monday, out the door forecast for you, we are going to see conditions improve as we head through the daytime hours. Once we get past that fog, we'll be in the 70s by lunchtime. Will?
Alrighty, Brandon, thank you. We have a traffic alert to pass along to you this morning. Highway 15 near Isom in Letcher County is shut down due to a structure fire. Dispatchers say the road is shut down in both directions and will likely be for some time. Several departments are responding to the fire, but we have no other information at this time. This story will be updated as more comes out. Well, back in February, a little girl in Leslie County was diagnosed with the terrible case of the flu, which turned into something worse. The community continues to come together to support Kaylin Lowe, including with an event yesterday. WYMT's Lauren McCourt has more.
3 months ago, Kaylin Lowe was a healthy little girl full of spirit.
Fun, funny, silly, wild. She never stopped. Never.
But in late February, the unthinkable happened.
Taking her to the ER, we just thought it was the normal puking and fever. And then when we got to Hazard, it was scary.
Kaylin was diagnosed with the flu, which soon led to encephalitis.
We just didn't know what she was doing, why she wasn't listening and responding.
After spending months in the hospital,
2 months to the day. Yeah.
Kaylin finally got to come back home to Leslie County. Still having a long road ahead, members of the community decided to host a cruise-in to help with the medical expenses for the family.
I've been doing my best to help him out every way I can, and I told him rain or shine, I'd be here.
This event bringing people in from all around eastern Kentucky.
It's really awesome to see people throw together to help out.
It means a lot. Everything. Yeah.
All to help out this precious baby girl.
Thank you.
Yeah, big thing.
For everything. She doesn't really realize how many people she does have.
But it's not just support from the community. The Lowe family has received help from around the world.
It's different communities, not only our community, but people, and there's people all over the world that send her stuff, stuffed animals and clothes.
Cards.
Yeah, everything.
And even though the family struggled the past couple of months,
everybody's pulled together for her.
The amount of love for their sweet Kaylin is unconditional. In Leslie County, Lauren McCourt, WYMT Mountain News.
Now, Kaylin is in therapy to help her get back on her feet. Firefighters, they're generally known for putting out fires, not starting them, but that was not the case this weekend. One training session teaches volunteers throughout the region life-saving skills. After obtaining a house, instructors go inside to light small fires so firefighters can test their tactics. Nearly 100 firefighters like Curtis Coleman from Olive Hill met in Lawrence County. He says firefighters need real-world experiences like this in a controlled environment.
Some departments get a lot of structure fires, some departments don't, so this is a good way to see exactly what we need to be looking for in a fire to save our lives.
The next training session will be held in the fall. Fire departments as far as Harrison County, Kentucky traveled to Sunday's training. This class was part of a weekend-long course to help sharpen their life-saving skills. Well, Laurel County deputies say they found a man's body Sunday afternoon in a creek. Deputies believe the person found was Tony Gibson. Gibson went missing last week. The body was sent to Frankfort for an autopsy and to confirm the identity. A cause of death is not known at this time. A Russian passenger plane made an emergency landing at Sheremetyenko International Airport just outside of Moscow yesterday. The Russian investigators say at least 41 of the 78 souls on board, including 2 children, were killed. Officials say the plane bounced 3 times when landing, causing fuel from the tanks to spill, dousing the back of the fuselage. The plane's manufacturer said the aircraft received maintenance in April, and the pilot had more than 1,000 hours of experience flying the plane. Russian officials have opened an investigation into the crash. A North Carolina community is mourning a police officer shot and killed during a traffic stop Saturday night. Police in Mooresville say 32-year-old officer Jordan Sheldon was transported to the hospital after the shooting, but later died from his injuries. Investigators said shortly after the shooting, the suspect went to a nearby apartment complex. Officers later found him dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. To San Jose, California now, where a suspect was shot and killed by police after dragging an officer with his vehicle. The officer was dragged several feet. The police were trying to find a stolen vehicle when the suspect jumped through the sunroof. The incident happened on Saturday. The local police chief is expected to hold a news conference later today. A student credited with stopping a campus gunman was laid to rest Sunday with full military honors. 21-year-old ROTC cadet Riley Howell, a University of North Carolina Charlotte senior, is credited for tackling a gunman who opened fire in a classroom. Police say Riley's selfless act gave them more time to respond and gave students a chance to escape. Thousands signed a petition asking the White House to grant him a military funeral. Howell's family has announced plans to start a foundation in his honor. Along with Howell, 19-year-old Reed Parler also died in the shooting. Well, thank you for getting your day started with us right here on Mountain News this morning. Just ahead, we have footage of a potential tornado that touched down in the Midwest.
After a dreary weekend, high pressure starts to move back in and the sunshine returns. I'll have the improving forecast in about 3 minutes.